Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on December 2nd, 2017, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of this village.
Want to do the Pledge of Allegiance again? Okay. I guess we have a special presentation that I will read on Child Abuse Prevention Month. Here's a proclamation. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, whereas we all have a responsibility as individuals, neighbors, community members, and citizens of the Borough of Belmar to help create healthy, nurturing, and safe experiences. And whereas healthy and safe childhoods help produce confident and successful adults. And whereas child abuse and neglect often occur when people find themselves in stressful situations without community resources and don't know how to cope. And whereas incidences of child abuse and neglect can be reduced by making sure all families have a support they need and deserve to raise their children in a healthy environment. And whereas it is recognized that no person can do everything, but that everyone can do something, and together we can create change for the better. And whereas effective prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among nonprofit organizations, government agencies, volunteer organizations, schools, service clubs, houses of worship, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas displaying a pinwheel of planting a pinwheel garden in the month of April will serve as a positive reminder that all children deserve great childhoods, happy, healthy, and safe. Now therefore, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Belmar do hereby proclaim April 2018 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the Borough of Belmar and urge all citizens to engage in activities that strengthen families and communities to provide the optimal environment for children to learn, grow, and thrive so that all children have the benefit of happy, healthy, and safe childhoods. Do we need a second? No? All said and done, huh? Next, we have Alex Taylor from the Bank of America Redevelopment. Could those gentlemen please come forward? April, do they have to give their names like a planning board meeting? Okay.
Slide up front.
So if you could just introduce yourself, address the council, and take it off.
Good evening, John Sardo from the law firm here.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
You know, that microphone
You have to get really
may
close
not be
to it.
working, but if you do, you might have to be like right
Yeah.
to it, you know.
Sure. Is this better?
I can hear you, but maybe the people in the back cannot.
No, speak up.
All right, I'll speak real loudly then.
Excellent.
John Sardo from the law firm of Giordano, Halloran, and Ciesla. Tonight, we're here on behalf of Sachem Pond LLC, the owner of the property at the corner of 9th and Main Street. It's been designated as an area in need of redevelopment. We're here tonight to show the proposal and discuss the details of that with the council and with the public. We have a member of the LLC here, as well as architect, engineer, and a planner. They'll be happy to provide the presentation and field any questions. And with that, I'll hand this off to Mr. Bill Stapleton, who's the owner of the LLC.
But first, Colleen, this presentation, we're going to vote to see if, to send it to the planning board, correct?
This is a first approach on a redevelopment project. They're going to present with you an overall view of the project. You have a chance to make suggestions, ask questions, and then at the end of which I'll do just a quick straw poll of the council to see if you want them to proceed into negotiations on the redevelopers agreement and financial agreement.
Thank you. Okay.
Helps. Better? Everybody? No? Okay, I'll yell too.
Yeah, yell too.
I don't blame you. I'm Bill Stapleton. I'm a member of the LLC, Sachem Pond LLC. We have, last count, I have 8 partners. One of them is Alex Taylor, who couldn't be here tonight. We came to own the property by surprise. We're in the real estate business. I've been partners with Alec for 30 years now. And Alec lives in town, I have a house in town, and when the bank property became available, we loved the property and convinced 6 other people that it was a great investment without a real plan on what we could do with it. But we didn't think it would be around long. So we made our contract offer and it was accepted. So in Real Estate 101, that's probably not the best way to acquire a property, but we were glad to own it.
So, excuse me, Bill, you and Alec are Belmar residents?
He's a permanent resident. He's on Inlet Terrace. I have a home on 3rd Avenue that I'm trying hard to convince my wife to become a permanent resident. We've been there, this is our 8th year, and she's slow to react because the grandkids are everything's problem.
Okay.
But I'm getting closer. We assembled a partnership. They followed us somehow, but they believed us that we had a great idea here. And then we went about creating the idea, that is, what to do with the property. We assembled a team of professionals that have either a flair for development or local flavor, and I retained actually counsel, no disrespect to John. I hired John Junko to represent us, and Junko's used to own the bank. So it tied up the whole circle. He has a real interest in what the bank becomes as well. John went to Ilianis this morning, so John Sardo is filling in for him. Abe was on that day. So without much more ado about how we got to own the property, I'd like to bring up our architect to talk about the presentation for the building. And any questions along the way, we're here. Okay? Thank you very much.
We need a new sound system.
Mark, that will have no effect on our equipment.
Just project as well as you can,
I need to go over
whatever
there.
it's worth.
Mayor, board members, it's a pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Michael Giardino. I'm with L&M Design. We're the architects for the project. We're the guys who came up with the
Let me switch with
wonderful idea.
you. Take this
I'll
one.
trade you.
You might be tethered a little closer in, but try
Is
that.
that better?
No.
No.
I'll yell. I do have a loud voice, so it shouldn't be a problem.
There you go. That's beautiful.
This evening, we just want to share our concepts with you. It's a great project, we feel. We've been working with our clients now for quite some months. We've had several back and forth, several iterations. Our clients have met with some of the people in town. We've taken comments back. And as a result of all those ins and outs and ups and downs, we've come up with what we think is a really exciting project for this location. So we're looking across at the intersection here with the bank and our development site, which is actually a very long, deep, currently a parking lot with a small bank outbuilding on it. And I have to say that probably the biggest feature of our design is the preservation of the bank itself. It's going to be adaptively reused as an office facility, but the exterior of the building, the approaches and all will be as they are today. So behind our building is, because of the need for parking, it's going to be raised up over a parking podium, we call it. There's 20 some odd spaces in the podium, and Civil will explain there's some other parking around the site, and part of our plan is also to do some restriping in the back of a municipal. So we actually increase the parking in the area. So here's our basic floor plan layout. You can see that parking is below. There's an entry, little lobby area. It's an elevator service building. And then on each of the 3 floors above the parking, there are 8 apartments, 4 one-bedrooms and 4 two-bedrooms. So what we're trying to achieve here is I'll call it almost a background building. Elegant, but background. As we drive around the neighborhood, we see that the predominant architecture is a porch architecture, very classic, very turn of the century, if you will. It's very hard to get a look like that when you're building over a parking. area, but what we've tried to do with our design is to pick up on the color and materials. So our thought is to have vertical cedar, which is used throughout that community, pick up on the color schemes of some of these other buildings with white accents, white porches, and some kind of subdued grays and maybe gray-blue colors in the building to help break up the massing and blend it in with the community itself. So I don't know if you have any questions at this point, or?
I'm sure we do.
Perhaps if you want to go all the way through with
Yeah,
the
go all the
parking
way
numbers
through.
and
Okay.
number of units,
Okay.
number of parking spaces, all of that, and then we can maybe go into questions.
Okay, leave the pretty picture. Leave the.
Yeah, where's Rich?
Sure.
Wanna just tell them what I'm in?
Yeah, sure.
So good evening, I'm Richard DeFalco with JKR Engineering, the engineer worked on the project. The colors that you see before you are key to the old bank building is the brown rectangular shape on the corner. The blue color is the proposed new 24-unit apartment building. The yellow is the borough parking lot, which extends to 10th Avenue. So the plan is to take the borough lot, which currently has 15 spaces, re-engineer it, and wind up with 23 spaces, adding 8 spaces, milling it, overlaying it, foot curbing, and reshaping that to increase the available parking within the borough's existing parking lot from 15 to 23, adding 8 spaces. The blue along 9th Avenue shows that there are 10 spaces within that same bank lot, 5 in front of 5 tandem spaces. And then there are, on the proximity of the new building, there are 28 spaces. So when you do all the math, there's 47 new spaces being added to this lot, which includes the 8 of the borough lot. But for the project, there's one more in the street on 9th Avenue, for a total of 47 spaces. We have 24 units, and when we do a shared type parking with the bank building, which is about 6,000 square feet, their need is 18 spaces by the ordinance. And if we take those 18 spaces and apply them towards our need of 48, 2 per unit, we need 30 spaces. We're building 47 spaces. That's really the point to get across. We're building more than we need, and we're upgrading the borough's parking lot as well as part of the project.
Rich, on elevation, is it, are they seeking relief from the elevation of it, or are we walking that?
Well, the attorney might explain, but part of the redevelopment plan will include language to allow this project to go on its own set of rules and regulations of the redevelopment project for this blocking lot.
So what's the height of that, do we know?
If I could elaborate, so this was recently added to the redevelopment area. It will have its own independent plan for the one block. The plan for that block of redevelopment will move concurrently with the ordinance for the financial agreement and the redevelopment agreement.
There's no plan currently.
No plans currently apply to that area, and that's part of what the attorneys have been working on. But this is higher than the district plan.
To directly answer the question, the height of the building to the top of the roof, which is how, as architects, we kind of measure this stuff, is 45 feet. And then there's a parapet around some portions, which is just stand up another couple of feet.
So they fall within the,
So it would be above what is
Yeah,
typical
it's
in
gonna
our,
be-
in our town right now.
That's, yeah,
by how much?
well, have four,
Yeah,
it's like 6, 7 feet probably.
yeah, it's probably under 10 feet.
Yeah. Okay, about the parking, I'm looking at your diagram. Spaces 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the dark blue. How are they, I can't really see from the diagram, I'm sure I'm not seeing it. How are they accessed during the day? How does somebody pull into that space and then pull out? If someone's parked in the other row right next to them?
Right, well, typically what that would be is that the people that are working within the bank building,
Right.
that have certain hours, they would work amongst themselves to know where they're gonna park, and they have it all coordinated.
So it's conceivable that someone who's parked in space number 5 just isn't gonna go out, drive anywhere for lunch, right?
It's conceivable, but the purpose of the tandem parking, and it's always an issue, that's gonna get built into hopefully the plan for this block and lot.
Okay, see, my concern would be, I mean, I can see what you're talking about, people during the day working in the building, being able to work that out, but if people in the residences are gonna try to use that tandem parking, really, it seems to me not to be the most efficient situation. Someone's gonna have a problem if they get in, they can't get out because someone's.
Unless it's the same owner and they have 2 cars. I understand the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to quickly correct the record, your super efficient municipal clerk looked it up. The old commercial zone was for 4 floors, 45 feet. So
Oh.
it would actually, the plan would be in compliant with the old zone. So it's not in excess, as I
Okay, so
said.
it exists for 4 stories?
Yes.
All right. That makes
And just a question, there's 24 units, let's just hypothetically say there's 2 adults in each, 2 cars, so that'd be 48 spots. But they're not going to be given, they're only going to be given 28,
They'll be given 1 dedicated space.
1 per unit.
Right.
Okay, and then there's 23 public spots, is that correct? Went from 15 to 23, but the residents there can use them if open.
That's correct.
Okay,
And if the public, let's say someone who's going to Taylor Hardware parks in the yellow, then a resident from the new building would have to go find their own parking space if they have a second
That's
car.
correct. Right. And we've done quite a few of these in the borough, and the average parking requirement is about 1.5 per unit, not 2 in reality. So we think there'll be plenty of spaces on this property after the wash.
Now, during the summer,
During the
That
summer,
changes.
all bets are off.
yeah,
Correct.
all bets are off during the summer. Do we need to hear from someone else there?
Just anyone else who doesn't have feedback?
There's no units built in the bank building?
No residential,
No
no residential in the bank building. It's dedicated for commercial use only.
We spent, part of our delay in developing the plan was our analysis of the best way to use the bank property. And initially, it's an underutilized footprint, so would you demolish it? And the answer is no. In the time after the bank moved out, before we bought it, on Friday nights at Piano Plaza, I'd look at the building and say, it's just good architecture. Someone should do something with that building. It'll turn out it's me. So our goal is to keep the building. We looked at adding the 3rd floor. Structurally, it could do it, but it would change the character of the building. So we're gonna work with the building as it exists. One of the big challenges is getting the vault to become a usable space. They apparently build a vault and then build a bank around it, but we'll work on that. But just because of the foot traffic, proximity to the center of town, we think it's a natural use. A lot of interest actually in office. People actually my age who are starting to phase out of work but want to have an environment to work in, have satellite office needs. We think that we might be able to do that also on the 2nd floor, but the problem is access, whether we'd have to include an elevator or not to make it a viable office use. So we're not actually committed to how to best utilize the 2nd floor yet. And that's what the holdup is on coming forward with an actual plan for the bank building redevelopment. We didn't want to hold up this any longer while we continue to vacillate. We just hired a local architect to help us analyze our alternatives with the bank building. But it's our plan right now that it'll stay street. The facade will stay as is, that it has enough character and is important to the downtown district that we maintain it.
I have a couple more questions. The residential building, condos or apartments?
Apartments.
Okay. You know, I mean, it's zoned for 4 stories, but did you start thinking 4, or did you look at possibly 3?
Well, this site, if you took it at face value, it's 100 by 150. It's a pretty nice property, that close to Main Street. And what we did actually is imposed on ourselves, the first limitation was we thought it was very important to continue to maintain a pass-through from 9th to 10th.
Yeah.
And to maintain that vehicular access, while we would need a setback from the property line, to utilize that for public right-of-way, kind of limited already our ability to use the property. Additionally, there's access currently to the back of the buildings on Main Street, around the back through the bank property. So we thought it was important for, obviously, life safety, emergency vehicle access, but also those people use it to run those businesses. And so we started with an imposition of that, which already put us into a bit of a pigeonhole. And then when we looked at yield, it became obvious that if you're going to park the project, you have to elevate it and use the grade for parking. And so we kind of almost backed into a much tighter footprint.
Right.
And then elevating to the height became the only way to get the yield.
The bottom floor parking, I'm sorry, what'd you call that? Is it
It's a podium leveling.
podium? Okay.
It's expensive
Is
construction.
something we can see through, a la what's going on over on 10th Avenue?
That's a great question. So one of the things, by code so that there's a driver for ventilation.
Right.
If you have a certain percentage of the parking area open, then it doesn't require ventilation. The ventilation for carbon dioxide is very expensive. So we used that as the first criteria and tried to maintain the closed area, if you will, on the 9th Avenue side. So there'll be an overhead door. It'll hopefully accentuate the architectural features. We reserved one wall furthest away from Main Street. We want to use it for actually local artist displays. So it'll be interchangeable, and we'll work with the local art community to display their works.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just got one more question.
Yeah, sure.
What are the square footage of the units?
I think they vary from about 875 to, is it 1,100 one?
Just under 1,100.
Just under 1,100.
From what we know about other developments that are coming before you or on the planning side, I'd say we're probably 5% smaller. And in our mind, that means we can be 5% lower on the rents. And so hopefully that'll help us stay full.
If you get planning board approval, when do you think construction would begin? Timeline?
I think it's financeable now, and that would be the first thing I would think about, is a lot of times a bank's not gonna do your loan until you have all your approvals in your pocket. So finalizing the financing, I'd say it's within 150 days or so.
And you could start construction?
Yeah, I hope to be retired by then, but I hoped to be retired 2 years ago. So, but in any case, yeah, we want to put the building into production as quickly as we can.
Okay, now we take a
Sure. Do a straw poll of council,
sending
this
to the planning board, and they'll.
no, sending it to negotiate with the borough administrator and redevelopment council and prepare a redevelopers agreement for your consideration.
Tom?
You know, it's zoned for 4, so yeah, that was my only question. Behind the building, I'm really sensitive to taller buildings along Main Street. It's not only, I love that you kept the bank, absolutely huge. So I'd say yes.
Councilwoman?
Yeah, I was concerned about the parking spots, but again, having 2 cars per unit is not the norm, so I'm glad you did stress that. I say yes.
I like what you presented, so yes. Yes.
All right, gentlemen, you're going to be spending some time with me.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I apologize if we didn't yell it loud enough for practice for the next time. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much.
You done?
Okay, next on the agenda would be the nomination for council seat.
I received a letter from the Belmar Democratic Committee nominating 3 people to fill Ryan McGovern's council seat, and those names are Mark Levis, Maggie McBride, and Louis Polito. I want to make a nomination to.
I'd like to nominate Mark Levis.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other nominations? Okay, Councilman Reddick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Walker?
Yes. Okay, now we step down off the
Why don't you
dais.
come off the dais and we'll do a little swearing in. Councilman Levis, would you like to join us?
Absolutely.
Congratulations. So, Brian, here's the book to read. Mark, who's holding the Bible for you today?
She's actually a child.
There you go.
Children do that.
Right, who wants to go there?
Lord.
Great. You want to help? There you go. Okay. Got it.
Okay, Mark, congratulations.
Thank you.
Just repeat after me. I'll go slow.
Thank you.
I, Mark Levis,
I, Mark Levis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties as councilman
all the duties as councilman
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No.
We need to sign this, but do you want to say a few words to?
Yeah, first off, I'd just like to thank the council and the mayor for giving me this opportunity to serve the people of Belmar. Over the past couple of years, I've had the pleasure of serving with Mayor McGovern, Councilman Brennan, and Councilman Walsifer on the Harbor Commission. And I look forward to continuing to serve with them and with Councilman Nicolay to keep making Belmar move forward. I'd also like to thank my family and the fire alarm we had before. I'm happy they're on board, and I couldn't do this without their support. Over the past 12 years I've lived here, I've really gotten to understand the valuable resources we've had in town. Our marina, our beaches, our businesses, just to name a few. But really the most valuable resource we have is the residents. You know, we've got young couples looking to buy their first starter home, grandparents looking to retire and just live by the beach. We've got business owners, firefighters, DPW workers, police officers, EMTs, and so many more that I've probably missed. But it's them that really makes Belmar great, and I'm truly honored to be able to serve them. Thank you.
Which, here? You.
You sign that. We'll date it.
Good work.
Yeah. I looked to my left and I just say, Martin. Okay. Next, we have a nomination for council president. Anybody?
I'd like to nominate Jennifer Nicolay.
I'll second.
That was your first official?
Yeah.
Drinking the Kool-Aid. Any other nominations? No? Right. Councilman Brennan?
Yes?
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Walsberg?
Yes.
Councilman Levins?
Yes.
Okay. Next, in workshop discussion, we have Chief Steve Hines from the Belmar Fire Department and a couple other firemen. I think George Barrett and Tim McGuire. Could you guys come up and kind of talk to us and you can discuss what you're here for? Steve, you wouldn't happen to be from the famous Hines family?
No, that's the other guys.
No, yeah.
57. Good evening, Mayor, Councilman. My name is Steve Hines. I've been a fireman in the town of Belmar for 43 years. The Belmar Fire Department has been putting fires out since 1889. We'll be celebrating our 130th anniversary next year. We come before you on a couple of issues. Our main issues is apparatus replacement.
Meaning fire trucks, right?
Fire trucks. Last year, the Belmar Fire Department answered 217 calls in the borough of Belmar.
How many?
217 for a mile square, which is pretty busy. We had two rough fires. We had the boat fires over on 5th Avenue, and we lost 2 houses, or 2.5 houses on 10th Avenue, which was, there was no way of putting it out before we even got there because they were a total loss. We come before you because of our apparatus. Our newest piece of equipment, which is a pumper, which carries the water, pumps the water, puts the fire out, is a 2002, which is 16 years old. Our oldest piece of equipment, which is a 1982, it's a pen pump. And then we have a 1985, a 1989, a 1991, and we have a 2009 ladder, which we got through a grant. As you can see, the gentleman here tonight was proposing a 4-story building up on Main Street. We looking for the future. The equipment we have, not to put a scare in anybody, it's inadequate. We need to upgrade. Sometimes it starts, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you take it to the borough yard where Mike and Billy, and they're scavenging for parts. So it's tough. I mean, we want to provide the best fire service to the residents and to you people up there. It's all your homes. I mean, it's not our equipment. It belongs to the borough. It's yours. You own it.
So the borough owns the fire trucks.
They own every piece of equipment.
What about the buildings?
With buildings. You own everything. We're just squatters for 130 years. Everything else belongs to the borough.
Thank you. That's great.
And I appreciate it, and I left everybody a copy of the report that we submitted in 2015, and I hope to hear from you soon, because we're in dire need.
Okay, Steve, you know, you're the fire chief. How many fire companies are you in charge of
There's
yours?
3 fire companies. Union Fire Company, which is on 9th Avenue, they were the first in 1889. Then Volunteer Hook and Ladder, they're on 11th Avenue, they were 1892. And then Goodwill Host Company, which is on 7th Avenue, they were in 1901.
Yeah, how do the 3 work together, or is it just one fire
When we get
department?
to a fire, we all work together.
Or just one fire department?
Yes, Belmar Fire Department.
Okay, and 3 companies?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if the borough owns a truck, who decides what company gets that truck?
It's up to you. So we usually write a letter requesting, and when it comes to the age, that's the way we used to do it. When it hit a certain age, we used to request a letter to the mayor and council, and they would either say yay, start a committee, you know, come back with some prices, and then go from there.
Who
But we all
solves?
took turns.
What if there 2 companies want a truck? How does that get solved?
The oldest piece goes.
All this piece, okay.
And your youngest, newest one is 2002?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there an average life expectancy of?
We push pretty good in this town. I mean, since I joined, when I joined the fire company, we ran, and that was in 1975, we had a 56 Seagrave, which we still have in the garage down here, and we had a 67 Honda. And then in 82, we replaced the 56, and in 2002, we replaced the 67. Well, I mean, we get our money's worth out of it, believe me. I mean, you watch these, you look at these other towns, some of these towns are throwing good stuff right out the window because they want bigger and better. We're not looking for bigger and better. We're looking just to provide a service to everybody and a safe service and keeping our people safe inside the house. Make sure the water flows and everything else.
And I'm just curious if there are grants readily, available to apply for, Colleen? Grants? Just curious with any type of equipment.
We can always look, it is very competitive. A lot of towns are in the same boat that Belmar is in terms of older apparatus. I think we'd be looking at mainly a bond issue and hope to find something that would help offset the cost.
Okay.
I'm just assuming there's no trade-in value on, especially.
Scrap.
Right, they're just done.
Scrap.
Nobody needs them for parts.
Yeah, no, it's just,
What's the cost of a new truck?
it all depends what you get. I mean, we're not looking, you know, I mean, we don't go for the bells and whistles like the districts. I mean, districts, they got astronomical money because the residents come out and vote on a proposal. There's only 37 of them that votes on a $1.5 million fire truck. I mean, we have to come to you. I mean, we're never, ever went on beyond our needs. I mean, we stayed in a comfortable situation, and we never asked for all the bells and whistles. We do what we get.
And used equipment is usually, you buy somebody else's headache.
Yeah, you're definitely buying somebody else's headache because they got rid of it. I mean, it's just like buying a used car. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, if you guys decide to that, I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's a process. It's almost a 2 years process before you get a fire truck. It's not like going to the car dealership and walking up and down the lot and say, I'll take that one right there. It don't happen. I mean, it's the specs, it's the building, and it's almost a 2 year process.
I mean, are they
Well, you
people,
see
do you like tell them what you need and they build it to order, or do you find something that actually fits your needs that's already built?
Well, we try to build it to our need because we got a unique place. I mean, our firehouse on 9th Avenue was made for steamers. That's a horse-drawn fire apparatus. I mean, when you back the engines in now, you got 3 inches on each side of the mirror to get her back. So, I mean, we have to go with a certain size body. I mean, that's why it's customized. I mean, you just couldn't put a regular truck and throw a pump and back it in, because it won't happen.
Okay.
On all 3 companies.
George Burr, you're here to talk about the buildings?
Yes, sir.
Okay, George Burr is a former chief of the fire department.
Yes.
And a former student.
Yes. Yes.
Can you just...
do you proud.
Thank you.
First of all, congratulations, Councilman. Thank you. Mayor. My name is George Burr. I'm a 26-year volunteer with the Belmar Fire Department. As Mayor McGovern said, I just served as fire chief in 2015, and I currently am the captain of a Union Fire Company. Just to expand upon some of what Chief Hines said, currently there are 3 firehouses in the borough of Belmar. 11th Avenue is the volunteer hook and ladder. That houses the ladder truck and a utility vehicle for lighting to fill our breathing apparatus at the fire grounds. 9th Avenue Union, they have 2 pumpers that we house in that one. And 7th Avenue Goodwill is also 2 pumpers. And basically, I'm just here to discuss the current condition of the buildings. We have ongoing problems with leaking within the firehouse, the roofing, and they've been patchwork, they've been played with. We've had engineers, we've had roofing people come in that the borough has provided, and they can't seem to fix the problem. And we have flooding in the firehouse, and water damage in the interior of the firehouse on some of the walls. And our aprons, the driveways on some of the firehouses definitely need to be repaired. The aprons are all cracked, they're unsettled, they're uneven, and we really would like that addressed. Just to keep going, none of the 2 of the firehouses do have generators. So if there's an emergency or a power outage, they have lighting. One of the firehouses still doesn't have a generator. The generators that we do have access to are basically portable. We have to wait for a DPW employee to tow it to our building, set it up, hit the transfer switch, get it started, and by that time, power's back on us. We have an extended outage. So that's also what we'd like to have the borough look into. We have an exhaust system in each firehouse. In order to not breathe the diesel fumes from the apparatus, they have an exhaust system that hooks up to the engines. You start it, it pulls it out and filters it. They were installed almost 10 years ago, and they really haven't been serviced, they haven't been upgraded. They're being held together with duct tape, if they work at all. So it's an ongoing problem. There's problems with the overhead doors not working, not being properly, and the bottom line is, they need work. They need a lot of work. We do a lot of, we take care of the building the best we can. We paint, we clean up, we try to do what we can with what we have. But it's getting beyond us now. The sods are coming away from the building, and these are older buildings. Some of these are treasures. The 9th Avenue is the Old Borough Hall, police headquarters. It houses the Historical Society, as well as Union Fire Company. Hook and ladder, it's an older building, and it needs some upkeep too. We do the best we can with what we got, but it's getting beyond what we can do with just a coat of paint and a couple of nails or screws. So that's why we're here today, to kind of implore upon you, at least, if you want to come by, we can set up, you can take a look for yourselves to see what the buildings are about.
George, would it be practical to a new building and have all 3 companies in one building? Would that be more efficient?
We've had, when I was chief, that was kicked around to, and that was 3 years ago. And at the time, I said, come back to us. If you have a plan, the biggest thing is going to be property for it. And the building of it, we're not opposed to it. We're beyond the days of individual houses. I mean, if it's going to suit the needs of the fire department and suit the needs of the borough, then yes, we're open to any and all suggestions, and we will really enter into discussions.
The three companies would be able to blend into one company under Belmar Fire Department? How that?
Well, as Chief Hines elaborated, there's three individual companies, but it's Belmar Fire Department, first and foremost, and then it's Union Fire Company, Goodwill Hose Company, and Volunteer Hook and Ladder. But when the alarm sounds, it's Belmar Fire Department. All three companies respond as one, work as one unit, and provide the service to the borough. And then it's always been just individual houses, but we get along well. It's a group of younger guys now, and they seem to work well together. They seem to play well together. So yeah, if you can build us a nice sandbox, we'll play well.
Right now you have 6 vehicles. What would be the minimum number you would need if you're in one building?
Well, that I would have to refer back to, and I don't have that answer in front of me, but
Okay.
I can get that for you because that would impact ISO ratings. We also, remember now, we did take on South Belmar, Lake Como. So we do provide a fire service to them, so I think the 6 pieces of apparatus we have will currently serve the needs of both the borough of Belmar and the borough of Lake Como.
Okay. Thank you, George.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Tim, you required?
Sir.
Just go ahead, give your name, and I don't remember if you've been chief or captain or whatever.
Sure. Again, Tim McGuire. Chief Hines has me by 1 year. I joined the department in '76, so we'll let him with that. I had been up through the ranks in Goodwill Hose to captain, and at that point, my job kind of got in the way a little bit of doing what I thought was the appropriate amount of time and effort, so I fell out of the ranks. However, I have been secretary of the Board of Fire Officers since 1989, and I've stayed quite active with that, as well as a couple of the other committees throughout the department. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about the ordinance. Section 5.3 defines the fire department itself, which is a division of Department of Public Safety, of course, so we report to the director. The ordinance has basically been a little bit out of date, and there's some things we'd like to see changed to improve our end of the operation. Some of the things that are out of date is the requirements for various training. There are some courses that have been listed in the current ordinance that just aren't offered anymore. So we propose that we meet the Department of Community Affairs, the Division of Fire Safety requirements for training, both officers and individual members. That's one of the things. The other thing is we'd really like to emphasize the role of the chief, all very much defined in all sections of 5.3. It's about 15 pages long. It defines how the department is set up. We've had a lot of discussion about the 3 companies and so on and so forth. That's all detailed there. Their duties, their responsibilities, how they interface with each other. And the chief is really the main driver, along with his assistant chiefs and the other officers, to be sure that we've addressed everything as Steve and George have defined here today. There's another individual that's in that current ordinance, that's the fire administrator, which we need as another level of support. We see that individual basically taking care of all the town, county, state, even federal regs in terms of what reports have to be prepared, and they keep track of all that. They'll also be the major interface with the town on equipment purchases. Now, I'm not referring to the apparatus, but hose, gear for the men, so on and so forth. And there's a fairly detailed process there. We need to get some quotes and figure out what our need is on a smaller group of equipment that we find necessary because we're out every now and then. So those are the changes that we'd really like to see. We've given a draft, we've been working on this for 5 years, but town has a copy of our proposed draft, and we'd be perfectly willing to talk about any of the details.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did anybody have any questions?
I just want to confirm, you do not currently have a fire administrator? You just have a bunch of people that...
Ken Child, right?
There is an individual
We do,
who's
we
functioning
do.
in that role.
Yes, Ken Child is,
But he doesn't want to remain administrator, correct?
that is correct, and there's still some confusion because of what are those duties, and we just need to know.
And the old ordinance really outlined a different kind of job that I think
Yes.
it's evolved into. So that's part of the ordinance cleanup that you're referring to.
Exactly.
Thank you.
You think the fire administrator should be a member of the fire department?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I'm just with that.
All right.
Just back to the fire truck, I know Stevie Hines talked about it a little bit, but who puts all these proposals together? Do you have like a company that you would call to give you what specs and some type of pricing that we can take a look at and work on? Or is it up to the borough to do that?
Now, basically, once the borough agrees that we should proceed, Steve defined it, each company has a little bit of nuance, whether it's the size of the building or just some of the ways that we perform those operations. We take a look at the various specs that numerous suppliers of the trucks provide. We try to find a good match, come up with a little spec and send it out to usually 3 of those suppliers, and we see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, this would mayor and the council have some idea of what we're talking about, the money. And as far as buildings go, I mean, can we put like together like a 3 or 5 year plan of what needs to be done immediately, and you know, what could wait maybe a year or 2, and you know, get the main things listed first, and then, you know, because then we can budget and take a look at some of those items.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we can do that.
So, you know, if the fire department could do it, then we can take a look at it, and,
Sure.
you know, maybe everything can't be done in 1 year, but you can do the major things that are really a problem in the firehouses, and we work it out.
I'm sure all 3 have a couple of high priority items, so yeah.
They're all the buildings, and yeah, they have to be worked on about Kevin. So if we could take a look at that, and then, you know, we could look at the budget and see how we can work on.
Sounds good.
Councilman, if I may just add to that, but I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
We did have the borough engineer come to our building, at least one of the fire buildings. I'm sure he went to the other companies also. Did a thorough walkthrough, he took pictures, and I believe there is a report, and this was only done within the last year or so. So there are reports on the actual structure of the building, and there is engineer reports on what is immediate and what's can be a, you know, later on down the road. So their information is available.
Yeah, because I mean, then we can go out for requests for bids and you know, see how we can budget for it and get those things done. Because, yeah, I know they're older buildings and they have to be okay, you know, especially if you have problems with garage doors and stuff like that, maybe that's immediate. So, all right, I think that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Tom, you want to go to plastic bags or to the Main Street Bridge project?
Let's talk about the big bridge first.
Okay. For the folks out in the audience, today at 4 o'clock there was a meeting over in Avon concerning the couple options which are in they refer to as phase 2 for the bridge between Belmar and Avon on Main Street. all of us were there. It was a great show of Belmar being represented, and Colleen, you were there also. Tom, why don't we go with you? What did you thought of the meeting?
I thought that given, or one of the things that I thought was different about that meeting was it wasn't what a lot of people expected. It wasn't, I knew in advance it was going to be an informal meeting, so I knew that I wasn't going to be, they weren't going to have somebody stand up and explain the designs. So I was comfortable with that. I got a chance to talk to a couple of the engineers. They did put up the designs. I thought they explained pretty clearly what they were doing, but I don't think the people, most of the people that attended the meeting, I don't think they got a chance to really say what was on their mind. A lot of people are really, really concerned about the thought that there's going to be, it seemed to me anyway, that they were going to put up a high-level, thick-span bridge. I don't think there was really any support in the room from many of the residents that were there. I know I don't support it. But I think that the engineers from DOT pretty much explained very well what they were doing. And the idea is that because there's going to be, excuse me, federal money involved, you kind of have to dance to the federal dance, which means you have to dot every I and cross every T, and they have to really say that we're considering every single option, including having no bridge at all, which was, okay, I guess that's an option, not, but, and so I thought they did a good job of explaining that. One thing I wanted to share with everybody, they were not, DOT was not prepared for the crowd that showed up, so they did not have enough comment forms for people to fill out. But the woman from DOT, her name is Denise Peck. Her email address is Denise, D-E-N-I-S-E Peck, P-E-C-K, @dot.nj.gov. And you can email her your comments about that bridge, because I know I'm going to email. There was no form for me to fill out.
You're throwing her under the bridge, huh, Tom?
Absolutely. That's her job. That's her job. So I think one of the things we want to make sure happens is that when the engineers finally make their real recommendation, they can say the reason they're not recommending a high-level thick-span bridge is because there is absolutely no support and very high levels of opposition from the community. That was what I thought.
Jen, you were there?
Yeah, I found it very interesting. I know
Boy,
that.
first day as mayor, and someone calls me. Go ahead, Jen.
Everybody go around.
Matt, hang on. I found it very interesting. I thought that they were very accommodating, actually, because it was specifically originally planned for just the businesses. And there were definitely residents there. There were, obviously, business owners, etc. It was a large turnout. I was surprised that they didn't think it was going to be a large turnout. They didn't have all the printouts, but they made some more at the end, which was very nice. I thought they were, again, very accommodating. I thought they did a really good job at answering the questions the best that they could. They took all the questions in the room. It was from 4 to 7, but it probably went to 5.
Well, we left, but they were going to stay and talk to people.
And yeah, and they had to discuss every possible option. They certainly weren't leaning towards, one or two of them, let's say, but they said that part of the process, again, is that they do have to discuss every possible option. I was surprised as far as right now, it's 80-year-old bridge, and it's on wood pilings, right? They were talking about.
I was surprised to hear that, yeah.
So it's structurally being held up by some old wood. Not to scare anybody, but that was very interesting to hear that. And I know Hutch had walked over to the meeting, and he said that there are a lot of cracks in that bridge. But I'm glad that it's being addressed. I am confident that they're going to make the best decision, but certainly any input that anybody has. We don't have our home address, but you have our email, so please reach out. And if there's going to be a meeting on June 7th?
June 7th here.
June 7th here. So I would advise, as a resident business owner, even if you don't live immediately in Avon or Belmar, it's going to affect all the towns around, please attend.
What?
Just a couple of things. I was surprised at some of the process of it. they have to come to the conclusion of what kind of bridge it's gonna be. I mean, they take everything into consideration for 75 years, and that includes, I guess, the manpower and the electric and everything to operate the bridge compared to a fixed span bridge. And the other thing is DOT makes the final decision, basically, I guess, with the engineer's input, but one of the things that we're gonna have to do as the mayor and council is really, along with Avon, is to really force the issue of what we want to see. It seems like we have a lot of weight, for lack of a better term, to force them into the bridge that we want, because the fixed span bridge that is really high is really going to really hurt our town and Avon also. So, and I was surprised at the process of how they come to the conclusion of which bridge that they want. They take the financial end of it into big consideration. So it'll be up to us to really force the bridge we want.
Okay. Mark?
I thought it was a good approach they were having with the meeting to present all the options to everyone. They tried not to make it appear as if they had already come up with a decision, because they haven't. They're still a long ways away from finalizing any type of design. I'm glad that they're actually trying to get some public input up front before they get further along and realize they can't go back. My personal opinion is that this 60-foot single-span bridge is not going to work for our town, and it's not going to work for Avon. And that was the input I was hearing from other people in the room as well. Just looking at it, you know, the ramp to start would be all the way back on 7th Ave, and there's just so much space they would have to take up out of our town, less so out of Avon, just because of the location where the channel is. And talking to one of the engineers, because the Coast Guard's involved in this as well, because that's a federal channel, there's no way that they'd be able to get federal approval to be able to relocate that channel to the center of the Shark River. So the channel's stuck where it is. As far as I can tell, there's no feasible way to be able to do a large 60-foot single-span bridge. So, you know, my personal opinion is that a double bascule bridge, similar to the one we already have, repairing or replacing the one that's there with light, would probably be the best option.
Very good. As I said, I was there also. The engineers were very forthcoming with their explanation. I think there needs to be another public meeting. I think it's June 7th.
June 7th.
We said it's going to be here. I really think we should try for the elementary school, because I think there will be a big turnout.
That's what we had proposed for them,
Okay.
so the school said they'd be willing to work with us on dates, so we'll see if we can lock down the 7th.
What I came away with is that the project manager said it's going to be 4 to 5 years before they can actually start any construction. So they're 4 to 5 years down the road. And then the actual rehabilitation or replacement, which I think that's the best option, they said it's going to take maybe 3 years, possibly 4 years. You know, there's time. In other words, we don't have to worry about this summer or next summer. There's still a lot of time to plan. I like what Mark said. They're going to be listening to us, and the council from both Avon and Belmar should get together and make sure we send the same messages to the DOT. That's it. Okay. Plastic bags. Tom, you're the expert here.
I wish. Yeah, you know, especially considering today that New York's Governor Cuomo proposes a statewide ban of single-use plastic bags in the state of New York. I think it's, you know, it would behoove us to explore. I just want to make sure that everybody in the council is comfortable and that we have what action we take will allow us to work with our business community to make sure that everybody is on the same page and that no one's really caught unawares, so that they're prepared to do this. But I really think it's something we do need to do. I'm looking at the ordinance from Long Beach Township, which I think would be a great model for us. And I mean, there are numbers in here. In 2016, as many as 1 trillion plastic bags were used worldwide, and less than 5% of that plastic is recycled. 4 million tons of trash every day, including plastics, go in. 19 billion pounds of plastic garbage ends up in the ocean every year. That's an area approximately 34 times the size of Manhattan. You can cover that with ankle-deep plastic and walk around it. That's every year. I mean, I think anything we can do to reduce that on our part, not only does it send a message to our community that we are working to reduce plastic pollution, it sends a message further up the governmental food chain so that people at the state level would see that there's more support, and then they could take the action. I think they're the ones that really should be. But I think it would start here. If we show that there's willingness in the community, then I think we'll see more action further too.
Yeah, personally, I think we need the support of the state, the county to get behind us. We can certainly start the momentum as we did several years ago with the no smoking on the beach.
Absolutely.
That took over. Years before that, the placement of the barrels on Ocean Avenue telling you yield to pedestrians. That, I think Belmar might have been the first town to start that.
Absolutely.
And now every town you go to in the state. So I'm behind you 100% with the environmental impact of plastic. But enforcing it is going to be a problem, and I don't want some of the big companies that says 7-Eleven, Walgreens, Dollar General, taking us to court over this.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of litigation costs. They have a whole lot more money than the borough of Belmar. Last year, I thought we were pretty successful with encouraging it.
You're concerned about that?
I'm concerned that we can't enforce it against the big guys. And the big guys, if we can't make the big guys do it, then how can we expect the smaller businesses in town to do it? Enforcement's the key.
Yeah, I agree. I tell you the truth, I understand your concern, and it's not outside the realm of possibility that would happen, but I tend to think that corporations like that, for them to make a move like that is bad PR for them. I think the PR cost will be so negative. The big corporation is going to smack down the small town that's trying to do the right thing for the environment. That doesn't sell well. That doesn't sell well at all, and I'm not really sure that they would want to do something like that. What I think we might want to do is, if we do enact something, give it a long, I'm definitely not thinking like we pass an ordinance and then tomorrow it's that's not the way to go. I never really thought that. I think what we need to do is think in terms of, we have an ordinance, it's in place, and we have a long window before we're actually going to start enforcing it. And that gives us time to communicate with the businesses, meet with them, tell them, look, this is what's going to happen. How can we make it work with you? And make sure that, like I said, that we're all on the same page and no one's caught unawares. And
I did see today where the New York governor, Cuomo, is pushing something for elimination of single-use plastic bags. I saw something on the television the other day where scientists are coming up with an enzyme that eats away at this plastic much faster than just natural breakdown.
Right.
So I think if we get science behind it, we can get, if New York State pushes it, I would hope that Trenton gets behind New York. Mm-hmm. And that makes it a lot easier on us and less likely that these big companies would pull us into court. And the fact that, we certainly can't pass this, and I don't think we can make it work by this summer, like Memorial Day.
Oh, no, definitely not. I never mentioned that.
When are you thinking?
I think we should give it at least till, I would say, January 1st. Give them that much time. You know, no one's ready to make a change like this for the summer anyway. It's way too big of a deal. I think what we need to do, I mean, the local businesses are already, especially the members of the BVP, are already behind it. They're already on the same page with us as far as they want to do this. That's why they're willing to help finance purchasing more of those recycled bags that we can give away, maybe for one more season. But the idea would be that part of what we're doing while we're getting ready for, like you say, January 1st enactment, is figuring out where can people in town, whether they're residents or visitors, purchase a reusable bag. We could find someone in town, hopefully, who's willing to manufacture and sell bags like that, so that they're available to the public to get. You know, pay $2 for a reusable bag and you're using it over and over and over and over again. And then it's just a matter of, believe me, I've learned the hard way. I've been, you know, talking about no plastic bags, but it's taken me years to learn to remember to bring bags into the shop right and say, hey, I got my own bag now. And honestly, they're fine. I was always kind of embarrassed, thinking, oh, they're going to think I'm some kind of tree-hugging nut. But they're fine. They're always
What's wrong with trees?
What's wrong with trees, right? So, yeah, I think that's, I'm really thinking, part of it all, the whole idea is education and communication. You know, the idea that, yeah, I want to like reduce our plastic footprint, but I want people to understand why, and I want people to see there's more things that they can do as well to reduce their, you know, the amount of plastic that we use, because the plastic, it would be great if they had an enzyme, but again, that's not going to be there tomorrow either. And right now, all that happens is the plastic just breaks into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller pieces, and at a certain point it gets so small that the fish are eating it, it doesn't get any smaller, and then it ends up on our plate. And it ends up in our food chain. Good. And that's what really scares me. Jen?
I'm 100% for it. I do think that, especially myself, it's just a habit. It's a bad habit. I'll walk into a store and not even think about grabbing the 10 bags that are in my trunk. But I am glad that we're going to give it till January 1st. Hopefully we get people on board a lot quicker. I do think there needs to be a lot more communication or reminding everybody, whether it's the school children or, you know, we had talked about possibly taking our recyclable containers and putting the turtle logo on it. I think just seeing things throughout the day, just remembering, don't take that plastic water bottle if you don't use the plastic bags. We do have bags coming in that we could share and hand out, but I don't think anybody wants to use more plastic bags. Certainly, if you go to the store and you're given a ton of them, take them back when you return, you're shopping again. So it really is just changing habits, but I'm glad you've put so much time and effort into it.
Yes,
and I think a year from now, there'll be a big difference, a big change.
Mark?
Yeah, I think it's one of those type of ordinances that you could put together, and as long as we have the time, because, you know, they probably have stockpiled of plastic bags already, but give them time for the change. And also, if we start to get a bit of pushback, to really take a look at it, we can always revisit before it goes into effect.
Well, I would assume that would be the public hearing. That's kind of what I thought.
But I mean, like even with big corporations like 7-Eleven or anything like that, I don't think it's one of those type of issues that they would come down on us or something like that. So,
They would make, that would look really bad.
yeah, I would think so too, but, you know, we can put it in place. I think that, you know, like I said, the business partners are all on board with it. I've talked to them. They reached out to the businesses in town. So I would say, yeah, let's put it in place, give them some time, get it going, and you know, see where we get a really big pushback on it.
Mark?
I agree wholeheartedly that plastic pollution in the ocean is a major problem. And if we could do something about it, that would be fantastic. My concern is that whatever we end up doing is going to be so small in the grand scale of things that maybe we can't impact the social changes that we'd like to, with changing habits and not having people use plastic bags anymore. That being said, it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. My concern is with enforcement. You know, obviously, we don't want to penalize businesses so bad, but if we pass an ordinance that, you know, doesn't have a lot of fangs to it, you know, it's not going to kill a business for, you know, using a plastic bag. At the very least, it does is raise awareness of it, so that customers are aware that, hey, maybe next time I'll bring my own bag or use a different bag. Maybe the businesses will voluntarily say, hey, we weren't even aware that this was an issue that the town was trying to do. We'll jump on board with this, you know, with our own, on our own accord. So I think it's a good idea. We just need to design the ordinance.
You know what, that's one of the reasons I like the Long Beach ordinance, because when, in their section about penalties, all it does is refer back to the general code for the municipality, which means it basically leaves it up to the discretion of the judge. The judge can basically do whatever, or none, whatever the judge sees as appropriate. And I would think if it got to the point where someone was actually issued a summons and had to go to court, it would probably be, you know, maybe a disorderly person's offense, not a big fine. And really, like a lot of our ordinances, it basically would be, you really only get really slapped around if you're abusing. You know, if you're really a chronic offender, or you're really abusing, or you're obviously defying the ordinance. That's normally, it's not that big of a deal. That's one of the reasons I like the ordinance. There's a lot of flexibility in it. And there's also, one of the things that Long Beach does is, they identify different kinds of plastic bags, like dry cleaning bags. And the kind of bags that you put your food in, like what they use over climbs to put the fish in. And all those are exempt. And if we saw a reason, if there was a business that came to us and said, you know, look, we're not doing like a bunch of these bags. We have this one kind of bag that we only use once in a while. We can put that in as an exemption as well. It's entirely up to us.
Okay, I like the fact that if our local businesses are supporting the no plastic, that's great, because then that will put pressure on the big guys to follow suit. So
again,
okay, let's.
Mayor, can I just bring up one more thing while we're North Shore?
Sure.
I know we talked about the municipal complex, and 2 meetings ago, but, you know, thinking about it, I know we have to do something with our municipal complex. We need the parking deck. The only thing that I wanted to suggest is maybe we put a meeting together, some of our professionals, some residents, and maybe like Barry Pep, who's in the building, and figure out exactly what we need and let them make a recommendation for us to go forward. I don't know how it feels about, you know, putting some kind of committee together to really take a look at it. I mean, it's one of the major projects that I've ever remembered in Belmar. Having 206 units, building a new municipal complex, putting a parking deck in, it's a major, major project. And I would feel more comfortable going forward with it if we had a whole committee together that really took a hard look at it. I don't know how everybody feels about it.
Sure. We essentially took a committee approach initially with Councilman Wasserfer and Councilwoman Nicolay as being our council reps for the project. We could continue in that vein, and you would be working with our professionals. So whether you feel the need to do something differently than that, it's up to you. My intention was to continue with both Councilman Wasserfer and Councilwoman Nicolay as we move forward with the developer.
The thing that I was suggesting is somebody like Barry Pep does a lot of developing. Maybe ask him to be on it. I know our chief's so busy too. You know, it's a big part of it is the police department. Maybe bring him in, because the whole dynamics of the police department is now changed with taking over Lake Como. So, you know, going forward with this, you know, instead of Brandy Warren coming and telling us what they could do, really take a hard look at it, what we want, and put it out there. But I mean, it's, you know, I just wanted to bring it up before the council and see what their feelings were on it.
What about a subcommittee, that those people that you're mentioning come to you and Jen, and then the information you get from those people, you bring back to Colleen in the committee that we have going?
Well, I would like, of course, Colleen to be involved, you know, when we have these meetings, just so you have a lot of eyes look at it and, you know, come up with what.
Sometimes too many people on a committee just You get it? So.
Well, that's what I said, like, you know, if you had Barry Pep's development, so he knows a lot of developing issues. And maybe the committee might come up and say, you know what, we want 60 condos, and we're gonna figure out different financing for it, and look at it differently to scale it down, but make it, you know, have a nice offset of money to do what we want to do with the municipality and the municipal complex. So, you know, I just wanted to make the suggestion. It is a big project for Belmar. It is on public property, and I feel more comfortable with a lot of guys, a lot of people having input on it going forward.
And then you can bring it back to.
Right, so if I could offer, it was at the last meeting, at the meeting we presented, this is similar to the Bank of America proposal, there's a straw poll, you authorized me to go ahead and negotiate with Brandywine, that is happening. Well, it's going to be happening very soon, I should say, they want to meet next week. You know, if council is interested in putting together people who you get feedback from, that you then filter that into the negotiation process, I think that's more than appropriate. So I think it is, and I have great respect for Mr. Pep, but do I think it's appropriate to have another developer helping or involved in the negotiation with another developer? Probably not, but again, there's probably input that you could glean from conversations with people like that, that you then send to Jennifer and to Mark to help better inform our negotiation with Brandywine.
And then Brandywine still has to go before the planning board.
Well, Brandywine still has to come back here, just as Bank of America would have to come back here.
And then they have to come back here.
And go to the planning board.
Go to the planning board, where there is a public
Yes.
input at the planning board.
There's public input at the time when they come back for the redevelopers agreement and financial agreement, and
Yes.
there's public input again at the planning board phase.
Correct. April, what's that group called that helps with the design? They're not on the planning
The
board.
TDRC.
The TDRC. Some of the people, maybe you should want to reach out to April with some of the people on the TDRC, and you know, an architect, an engineer, a developer, so that you don't just get developers in there. You know, you get a more comprehensive idea of what would need to be done, and then you can report back to Colleen. But I think time is, you know, you have to get that done.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Get started.
So if maybe after the meeting or tomorrow you stop in and talk to April. All right.
And I was going to say, it's certainly not formal or any committee or subcommittee, but ever since it became known, everybody has an opinion. So I don't think anybody has stopped or hesitated to, I know to me, to stop, grab my ear, give me their input, whether again, a business, a resident, people out of town. So I know that people are able to give input.
Yes.
And again, come to our meetings. So.
Yeah, a lot of people have spoken to me. People aren't against development. Everybody knows that if you took a photograph of Belmar today, and then 20 years from now you take the same photograph, you don't want Belmar looking the same. If we stay the same, there's a problem there. The fact that people want to come to Belmar and develop it is, I think it shows, I think we're so lucky the geography of Belmar, with the highway being able to get out to the parkway, the turnpike so easily, get to the train station, walk to the beach. You know, we have a marina. Belmar really has a lot of great things that people would want to come to Belmar and develop. If we look the same in 20 years from now, we're going to kick ourselves for why didn't we do something when we had the opportunity. Okay. Anything else, Mark?
No, I mean, I would second Mark's idea a little bit. I think it'd be good to have input from multiple sources, even from the school board, just because this is a project that could affect them as well.
That's already happening.
Okay.
So as long as there's a direct line of communication with that,
Very good.
I feel better.
Good.
April, do I have to bang the gavel and make a motion to close the, no, we don't, so we can just go right to petitions. Are there any petitions? Seeing none, we'll go to the approval of minutes. Jen?
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 10th and April 14th be approved as reported, and that a copy thereof be posted on the borough's website.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Osmer?
Yes.
And Councilman Levis?
Abstain.
reports of council. You probably don't have any there, Mark, so
No, not really.
unless something really happened in the last 20 minutes.
No, we covered the Main Street Bridge.
Okay, Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to welcome Mark on board. I enjoy working with you, as I've done in the past on the Harbor Commission. We did have a Harbor Commission meeting the last couple of weeks ago, right? Yeah. So there was a couple of things that had come up on the Harbor Commission. One, which I was surprised, is we don't have the whole marina Wi-Fi, especially the transient docks. And from what the feedback we get, we're getting a little, transient people who are complaining about the Wi-Fi. So maybe we could look to see what it would cost to spread.
We actually have started gathering some cost proposals on that, so I should have an update soon.
Oh, good, good.
Do we have a ballpark figure of the cost? I mean, it seems like everybody has Wi-Fi now.
Not yet. What helps us down there is that the electric exists. Some of the general utilities that sometimes are an expensive impediment to that exist. So I don't have a ballpark. I don't want to just,
Okay.
but we're getting there.
Okay, great.
And the other thing we brought in, a marketing, hold on a second, I forgot his name. John Soviet. And he did a presentation for us, and, I don't want to go through the whole thing with the council, but maybe we could bring him in here. I mean, he had some really great ideas for marketing our marina, and we're trying to get it filled up. He wasn't really super expensive, and he'll work a couple months. He can put in a couple months worth of work, maybe get everything started for like next summer. But he wanted to put videos out and then target, like for our transients, target other marinas where people are, and infiltrate their Facebook and target that to show that we have a destination here. And then he had a whole marketing plan on how to market some of the slips. So, it's hard to explain what he presented, but maybe we can bring him here and let him explain it to the council and see if we want to entertain doing a little bit of marketing for them there to get some of these slips filled up.
Would that affect tourism or the BBP? Are we stepping on toes?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm talking to colleague.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, look at me.
No, it certainly can be done in a way, it has to be procured correctly because we're a public entity, but it could be integrated if it's a way to supplement what Tourism Commission does or what the DVP does. So it's certainly, if they could get us a proposal, that would be a great place to start.
Yeah, even if you can come here and do a little presentation, what he really wants to do, and then we can make a decision from there whether we want to pursue that and do some marketing in the marina. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Tom?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two things. Thursday night is the Shore Got Talent Show fundraiser for the Belmar Elementary School Band and Chorus programs. I know a couple of very talented young people are going to be in the show Thursday night, so if you're available, come on down. It's 7 o'clock. $5 for adults, $3 for students and seniors. It is a fundraiser. I want to thank all the merchants in town. I've actually spent quite a bit of time the last 2.5 weeks walking around and with my hand out, and they've been hugely supportive. No one said no. Everyone's been anything for the kids, and it's really nice to see that kind of support from the community. And it's really great to see the kids get up on the stage. I mean, it's from kindergarten to 8th grade. The kindergartners are really cute, which is good. But the older ones are really talented too. And it's really amazing to see what they do. A lot of it is all the kids doing it themselves, especially one of the older ones. We have other activities over there where the parents are more involved, and this is really the kids themselves, and it's happening really quickly. It only takes a couple weeks to put together. And it is our big fundraiser of the year for our band and chorus program. So any support you can give would be great, greatly appreciated. And one other thing I wanted to mention, those of you who have been here will have heard me talking about wanting our planting down on the beach. We put in a pilot test planting by the 12th Avenue Playground last fall, and I'm happy to say that when I went down to look at it this week, there's dunes around the plants. There's sand piling up right around the plants. Plants are fine. It looks like they're getting ready to, if spring ever comes, they'll actually, you know, start growing leaves and getting colorful. And they definitely kept the sand out of the playground area, which is every year has been a problem. DPW's had to go in and dig out underneath the swing so they can start, because the kids can start using it. There's no sand over in there right now. It's ready to go, all ready for summer. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we can expand this project with another pilot testing in a different section of the boardwalk. And hopefully we can keep working on it. It looks like it's going to work. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Jen?
Belmar Arts Council, the Jerd Art Show is still going on through May 3rd. Please take a look, a visit. It's just incredible, like all their shows. Art Walk is on April 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I want to congratulate the library for doing an incredible job on Harry Potter Day. It was lots of fun. They're doing yoga for the kids after school. They've got so many new programs. Kudos to all of them. And I want to thank our new mayor for a beautiful day with dedicating Jane McGovern's playground on 8th Avenue. It was just spectacular, and she was there with us.
Okay. For me, last week we did an Arbor Day program for the two schools, for the 4th graders at Belmar Elementary and at St. Rose. We planted a 10-foot tree on the front lawn of the Belmar Elementary School for in between two trees that came down several years ago. Over at Doughboy Park, 2 trees that did not make it through last summer, we took them out and we had St. Rose 4th grade plant 2 trees there. So those expenses all come out of the shade tree budget. Also, we give each student a 1-year-old tree seedling to hopefully go and plant in their yard and get it to grow, and really to see if we can get them environmentally aware of the benefit of trees in the community. Just want to let everyone know that next Tuesday, May 1st, just a week from today, we're going to have a borough meetings, just so we can get back on track. We changed a little bit during April because of the Easter holiday, but there will be a borough meeting next Tuesday. Also, at the end of the public session today, we're going to go into executive session. We will come back, but we're not going to have any more business after we come back from executive session. So after the public portion, feel free to go, because we don't know how long the executive session will last. And when we come back, we're just going to gavel it and end the meeting. This past weekend was really nice. And a lot of you people, along with myself, did some yard work, clean up, and we put our brush out at the street, which was against the schedule of the brush pickup. The DPW with Mike Campbell was very helpful with changing his schedule around to pick up the brush today. And they picked up 28 truckloads of brush along the curb that really should have been done next week. So, which is good, because the town is looking great right now. You know, I'm from the tree, especially around Memorial Field with those cherry trees in bloom, and pear trees coming into bloom soon. It's looking great. So, Mike, thanks for picking that up. And when's the official brush pickup in May?
May 7th.
May 7th. So do some more yard work this weekend and put it out for May 7th. Appreciate it. Colleen, could you just tell us where we stand with the outfall pipe, status of the outfall pipe?
Sure. Progress is coming along pretty swiftly now. It is, all the ocean side work is largely complete, with the exception of the removal of those sheaths that you see that constructed the craneway. The contractor is now working through Ocean Avenue and working quickly. We hope to have them out of Ocean Avenue in a week's time, if not sooner, so that we can reopen the road.
Okay.
So that's our focus. We will then fall back on completing the project from North Boulevard back to the lake. And we are pushing them hard against the Memorial Day deadline. And it's an everyday push. So.
Okay. That's it for me. Anybody have any additions? I did want to say that the DOT said the rehabilitation of the bridge is going to cost about $30 million. For the replacement of the bridge would cost about $130 million. So it's an expensive project, and I'm glad people from Avon and Belmar just don't have to foot that whole bill. It'll be a lot. Okay, we're going to go into, we're going to have public session on the resolutions only on the agenda. We will continue to have a public session at the end of this meeting. So, does anyone want to come forward and speak about anything on the resolution calendar? Seeing none, I close the public portion. Do I have a second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye. All right, now the consent agenda, all minutes listed in the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Borough Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separate.
Do we have a motion for to move the consent agenda?
Do we have a motion to move the consent agenda?
I'll move. Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Lennon?
Yes.
Moves us to the ordinances. Ordinance number 2018-4. This is a first reading and introduction. An ordinance amending and supplementing chapter, I forgot,
19.
That is 19. On traffic of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Belmar, section 19-46, handicap parking spaces, and section 19-15, parking prohibited during certain hours on certain streets. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
You know, I just want to let everybody know, I'm a resident right by this intersection, and I remember when we enacted this ordinance, it was a huge help to the neighborhood because it alleviated a lot of problems with parking while that school was open. But the school's closed, there's no need to keep this anymore. It served its purpose, served it well, time to go.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Lennon?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2018-5, first reading and introduction. This is an ordinance amending multi-way stop signs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sure.
Which way is 19th Avenue going?
That's not in this ordinance.
Okay, this doesn't affect that at all?
No, this is the stop signs that we've talked about for some time,
Excellent.
consistent at B&D Street throughout town.
Excellent, excellent. I vote yes.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Lennon?
Yes.
Okay, it moves us to the public session. Yeah, want to come up to the microphone? Please come up to the microphone, state your name, your address, and see if we can help you out. Mr. Bean,
My first?
you are first.
All right. Hello, everybody. Jim Bean, 612 16th Avenue. I sent all the towns with the seasonal liquor licenses an email with a resolution on it that I suggested I would like all the towns to pass. I heard back from just about all of them except for Belmar. So I don't know if it's going to come up or not, but I would at least like the mayoral candidates to at least respond to whether or not you support with the seasonal being moved over to year-round or not.
Okay, I got your email, and I passed it along, like I said, to our attorney and to our administrator, and find out how this is going to affect Belmar. You know, I think there are like 9 seasonal licenses in the state.
8, all on count.
And I think Spring Lake has 1, Avon has 2, we have 3.
Bria.
And Riel? What about Cedar? Sigurd? Okay, so I think this bill that's been, is going to be introduced into the Senate is, hasn't been voted on yet, so I don't know how it's going to affect.
Well, this is brought up 3 times in the past. As a mayoral candidate, would you be in support of DJs going year-round, or would you be against it? Or, you don't care, either way?
Yeah. I know, I worked with DJs for many, many years, before these 3 gentlemen owned it. I worked there when Dominic DeSalvo was Mr. DJ. I believe these 3 gentlemen work real hard at an establishment that deals with alcohol. I think every town that has a bar that has alcohol, alcohol does strange things to people when they drink too much and everything like that, but I think they work real hard at cooperating with us. We have many restrictions on their license. So, I think DJs has done well as a seasonal business. I know there's a lot of complaints down there, but I think they do the very, very best they can to control the noise compared to the 70s. If you went to DJs during the 70s, it was much more of a disturbance to the neighborhood than it is now. Alcohol does that to people, of any age. But DJs attracts people from well, actually in the 70s, 18, but now it's 21 and up. But mostly probably what we would call millennials. And whether it goes year-round by a state, I don't know what Belmar can do to, I don't think we can override a state bill, can we, there?
I'm just asking an opinion.
Oh, an opinion,
What's
okay.
your opinion?
My opinion is I don't think DJs would be in the wintertime, the DJs in the summertime. I think they would probably look maybe special events like New Year's,
So you have
Super
no
Bowl.
problem? You'd be for it?
I would be for it if we could put some restrictions on it. Yes.
Councilman Wilson, any input?
I've been in touch with all our state legislatures, and they're looking at different amendments. If it does pass and it comes to us, we're gonna have to look at it real hard.
What's your opinion?
As a town. My opinion is that the whole thing started over because he wanted to open up for Parade Day. All the businesses around here make money. I had no problem with opening up for Parade Day. So, if that's the only day he wants to open, then, and the legislatures pass it, and the governor, we're gonna have to work with him on the dates that he can open.
Well, it'd be year-round.
I've been working with some of the legislatures down there, talking to them, and trying to get some amendments put on, maybe for like the ones that are gonna open up for restaurants and stuff like that. I'd be in favor for that. So just because it's DJs, I don't know if I'm so against all the other towns. If they want to change those year-round into a restaurant type of operation, I have no problem with that. But, I gotta take a look at the bigger picture. The one over in Spring Lake, I know those guys real well. They're pushing to get that to be year-round. They run a beautiful restaurant over there, so it's a double-edged sword, because I know that.
This is just about DJs, and if you're mayor, and they want to open up year-round, would you say, hey, no problem, it's the state law now? Or would you say, hey?
No. I'd be in favor of Parade Day.
Another difference, Jim, is a lot of people that go to DJs during the summer are renting during the summer. Those people won't be there in January and February. The parking is not going to be nearly as severe in the neighborhood because there's no one parking on Ocean Avenue. So if DJs has special events, New Year's, parade, St. Patrick's Day, or has a party, like a retirement party, a birthday party, family reunion,
But if this,
I have no problem with that.
but my last comment, if this passes, you guys have no say in what they open for. That's why I was trying to get a resolution on your calendar, you can actually say yes or no.
No, I think we would say.
Greg, would we be able to put restrictions on how often they could open on?
Yes, they would be subject of being actually in connection. Mayor forwarded your email, so I took a look at the liquor license for DJs, and there's like 3 pages of restrictions already on it. There would be nothing precluding the borough from putting additional restrictions of operation, hours and reasonable restrictions, and obviously any establishment who made that conversion would be able to go to the ABC and appeal it, as you've seen with some other liquor license holders in town that everyone's amply familiar with.
Yeah, Jim, I'm going to ask you a question, because you're right there by bar anticipation. Is bar anticipation impacts you as severely in January and February as it does July and August?
Yes, it does.
It does, okay. I'm surprised.
I mean, because it's so bad in the summer, it's just bad in the winter.
But it's not as bad in the winter as...
Yeah, but it's still bad.
Okay.
That's my point. Okay, guys, thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Hi, Roland, North Boulevard in Belmar. I sent forward
Can
an
hear you.
email.
I don't hear anything. Speak up, please.
I will
Yeah,
shout
so
louder.
just try to project towards.
Okay, try to keep everybody happy. I sent each mayor and 3 council members, I didn't have your name, rank, and serial number, I'll send you a copy of the materials. I'm seeking to address 19th Avenue, which Mr. Brennan knows is a near and dear to my heart. The current municipal ordinance with regard to traffic has 19th Avenue proceeding as an easterly flowing street. Even though there's no enforcement of that because of blowback by the people in the south end of town when that was passed last year. I was asked not to address it last year, and told it would be addressed again this year. We've now had an ordinance that places stop signs on that street, but those stop signs in effect are taking, I assume that, I shouldn't assume anything, I should ask the police chief, which way are those stop signs controlling traffic, eastbound or westbound on 19th Avenue? I have to address the mayor for that issue, and ask the chief of police not to respond, please.
Drew?
The ordinance for 19th Avenue is eastbound. Due to the construction that's going down on Ocean Avenue, no change will be made until after construction.
Okay. So in other words, while that construction along Ocean Avenue is done, the detour is going the 2-way, but, so which direction would you like to see 19th Avenue go? In the, let's say,
For the two-quarter house in 1981, that the traffic flow has been westbound on 19th Avenue since that date. That's the only way we on the south end of town can get out of the south end of Belmar when there's a race. And there was a race again this past week, that only half of North Boulevard was blocked.
okay, but then we have a problem last year where our 19th Avenue was going westbound and Lake Como's was going eastbound. They met at E Street and we had a big problem.
Yes, sir.
So by it going eastbound, just like Lake Como's 19th Avenue eastbound, and makes sense to me. I believe that during the summer, when like Uber and taxis pick up people from DJs, they would normally turn right on 19th Avenue and go into right past Surf, right past A Street. This way, if we stop it at 19th Avenue, they have to make a right-hand turn on 20th, and that takes them right down to North Boulevard and out, and they don't go into the neighborhood.
Give me a hint how I get out on a race day. If the traffic's all going west, eastbound on 19th Avenue, you can't get out. You're locked in. There's no way out, period.
That's a problem. Drew, is there any way we can address race day situations so those residents over there could get out, but still maintain eastbound traffic on 19th so that late at night the people Ubers and don't turn down west side?
Mayor, we have many races throughout the summer, and many of those races throughout the summer cause residents on all areas of the town to be locked in. The police officers will detour them to get out of town, even if it's against the one-way traffic. We do staff the areas to try to accommodate the residents. It's not just in that certain location, but many other races inconvenience the residents.
This is true, because I know I get locked in at South Lake Drive and 7th Avenue. I can't get out. I just have to wait until the race is over, which is maybe about maximum. Matter of fact, I'm locked in longer than you because they finish over there on the south end of town much sooner than at the around Silver Lake.
Can I make one further?
Sure, absolutely.
I sent each of you a copy of the Oprah response from the New Jersey Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
That said making 19th Avenue eastbound was not a good idea. They made their analysis 10 years ago. Has the Belmar Police Department done a traffic study to support and justify 19th Avenue being made an eastbound street?
Can we look into
Mr. Bauer has a tendency to ask me this on every occasion, not just in Belmar, but in Lake Como, every time we do a traffic pattern down there. We did not do a traffic study. Last summer, what we did was we shut down 19th Avenue periodically to see how the flow worked. The problem with westbound on 19th Avenue is that unless you're familiar with the area, it causes a confusion with the one-ways and the stop signs. And a lot of the residents, or a lot of the non-residents or tourists tend to drive around in circles, end up going down the wrong way, the one-way streets, or going through stop signs. It worked out well. That area from 19th to 18th of E Street, it seemed to influence people to go down to North Boulevard, westbound North Boulevard to, it was more of a direct route up to Main Street.
Okay, so Peter, if there's not a race going on, you're okay with the
No,
eastbound?
because then you're forced to go down 18th Avenue during the week, which they don't have a no parking on 18th Avenue. 18th Avenue in Lake Como, as you approach Belmar, is not the easiest road to go on when there's parking on the street, which is every day, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, when they have limitations. So it makes it difficult to get in and out of our street. And we're stuck for 365 days with the making 19th Avenue eastbound for the entire year. We have, 12 bad weekends in the summer where you have a little traffic. The chief, and I've come in before, put up cones at the intersection of 19th Avenue and Ocean Avenue to alleviate that problem. That was a tremendous benefit. A bunch of cones, 12 for 24 nights a year versus inconveniencing a neighborhood for 365 days a year. The balance just doesn't work, in my humble opinion. And as I pointed out to Mr. Brennan, 2 votes was all that won last time around. And the people, as you remember from seeing the people at Lake Como at the meeting, Mr. Mayor, you know that people are interested in this issue. And there was a 100-person petition signed on it. So again, I again implore you to reconsider. The existing ordinance has, and it was passed last year, allegedly with a clerical error. That was what we were told, whether that's the case or not. We were also told in the TAP, which I sent the article to 4 of you, they published, they said Belmar would keep 19th Avenue westbound. They were there at that time, it was reported, and we didn't deny that. And now we're going to be stuck with it. And I, again, request you reconsider, please.
We will consider it, but let me say that, as mayor, there might be decisions that I have to make that you don't like. And I'm not going to run away from that.
I disagree.
I think we're going to, I can't do what everybody wants me to do just because I hope you vote for me. So we will continue to talk about it, but bottom line, I'm going to follow the direction of my the police department that has someone that studies the traffic and.
In spite of the New Jersey Department of Transportation.
Well, we'll see what that is.
I sent it to you. You had it last year as well.
It may have changed. Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am, with the glasses. There's a person behind you. The one with the glasses.
Glasses.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
me.
have glasses, they're those things that, yeah.
These things, I can see
Yes.
them now. Thank you. Claire Hayner, corner of 18th and Mid.
18th and big.
18th and Mid. Chief, I'm glad to see you back. Congratulations on passing your FBI thing.
Thank you.
Can I ask for clarification on what we just spoke about here with, on 19th? Because right now, back when, it was said that 19th and 20th were going to switch. Okay? And then that changed to leave it the way it is. And right now, currently, 19th is going westbound. I drive it all the time. It's,
Currently, while the construction is going on at the.
no.
Currently, it is westbound, and 20 is actually two-way traffic due to the construction.
Okay.
correct, and it's working real well with parking on the one side and for the winter and everything, because there's not too much traffic, so it works well. So is there something that's going to switch 19th to eastbound now?
Not tonight. We are considering making 19th Avenue eastbound, which will especially help us in the summertime to keep traffic from turning down 19th Avenue going westbound and going into the neighborhood. If you think about it, you know the area, it makes more sense for them to leave Ocean Avenue and turn down 20th Avenue and go west, hop on the road and right up to Main Street.
Okay. I didn't realize that was back on the table again.
It's on the ordinance now. It's on the ordinance right now. We're not enforcing it due to the construction and the confusion that's going on down there. It is on the ordinance for 19th Avenue or westbound, eastbound, 20th Avenue or westbound.
Okay. Fair enough. So that brings me to my original question that I've been asking since October. How about Snyder? Switching the direction of Snyder to go northbound?
I was trying to think of Snyder. I couldn't come up with it.
Northbound versus
Certainly,
southbound.
we can take a look at that. I have not looked at that because I've been away, but we've been concentrating on the stop signs, trying to get that straightened out. I'll take a look at Snyder.
Take a look at Snyder. Okay, and really do appreciate the stop signs, and hopefully at 18th and B, they will be there too. And while we're on consistency and different things, I'm hoping that Mike will be able to get those no parking signs on the, painted on the street, so that when we try to be good neighbors and tell people you can't park there, they say there's not anything that says I can't park there. Even though the lines are there, they see no parking on the other side of the street, on the street, but because I think the people actually painted it on themselves on some of the corners, but if we could actually get officially painted no parking, I think it would help some of the summer people out, or you can issue more tickets.
Mayor McGovern has asked us to do more striping, and we will as soon as I get weather. I need over 55-degree weather to start painting those lines so that they'll stay. But it is on our agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We're hitting the potholes first, then we're striping the lines as soon as the weather breaks. Trying to get some nice things.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Just come up, state your name, address.
Hi, my name is Janine. I'm not from...
Janine, where do you live?
I live in Howell, actually.
Okay.
So I had reached out to April, and I'm inquiring about teaching yoga on the boardwalk. Because there is that section right by the Belmar fishing pier that allows that square where you can teach about like 20 to 30 people. And there is Zumba classes that take place, so I think it would be a great opportunity to give the community a chance to do yoga outside in the summer.
Okay. Is yoga,
I can speak to, it's something that we have bid in the past. All of these concessions and lessons and whatnot are bid items. We typically do all of our concession bidding in February and March to get ready for the summer. So we're pretty set for this season. If it's something that council would like to consider for the 2019 season, we can certainly take that into our planning considerations for next year.
so Janine, it looks like we already took those bids?
Yeah, well, we didn't bid yoga this year. We have in the past and had varying degrees of success. Very varying degrees of success. The Zumba is still doing well. They'll be back this season, but we didn't bid anything for this year, no.
Okay.
Is there an opportunity to do it on the off days that Zumba isn't there?
The only way we can do lessons on the boardwalk or any public property is through a public bid. And so that would have to be advertised and noticed and bid upon. We do all of that in typically February to be ready for the summer so that we can get through contracting. So I don't think it's possible for this year. But certainly if you want to send us a proposal, I can tee it up for consideration next year.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
George?
George Comatasa, 11 3rd Avenue. First of all, I hope I pronounced this right, Mark Levis.
Got it.
Congratulations, and your family makes beautiful shirts for the St. Patty's Day parade. My daughter always makes them buy. Mr. Governor, of course, I was there for your wife's ceremony for the, congratulations on your behalf too. And on the Boy Scout spaghetti dinner, those people who came, it was very successful. My son thanks you, and they raised a lot of money. I think I'll do the money thing, I just sell stuff.
Approximately $2,000 they raised.
Thank you.
Wow, that's good.
And also, I was hoping Franny would show up when he was away, and I saw him. So just a reminder, of course, talking about DJs, the autism benefit, first Friday in May, opening day for DJs. We got to sell those tickets. And on the fire company before, I joined in '75 also. I was a good captain. I wasn't a very good chief because I'm better Indian. But those guys never stop training. I'm talking about my firehouse. The other guys do a lot. Our young guys, the Amazones and all these new guys we got, they train every Tuesday for like 2 hours. They're crazy. That's why when they go to these fires, these guys are like as good as career. I'm not saying that we ever run as good, but they're just incredible people, the fire company. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Pat?
Hi, my name is Patricia Texa. I own Establish Nonsense Vintage Clothing at 903 Main Street. Hold on a second. I'm happy, I want you to know I'm happy about this. And we got the notice a couple of days ago that effective immediately, all vehicles are subject to the 2-hour parking rule in the downtown business district. I am all for that. I've always been for that, okay? But it says effective immediately. Every time we get a notice about this, it kind of fizzles off and dies. The business owners are the biggest culprits. On my block alone, I know I have one definite business owner who parks in front of my store, so nobody parks in front of his, okay? And I have it documented every time I'm there. I've got, I might go to town on Facebook with this. And then, it varies. Okay, either enforce it or don't enforce it. But don't come out with a letter every year that says we're going to enforce it, and then 6 months later, the business owners schmooze whoever's doing it, and then they walk into all the stores and they go, is that your car? Because I'm going to mark it. Is that your car? And then you know who gets the tickets? The customers, okay? The business owners are, oh, here comes the guy, let me go out, let me move my car. Please enforce it. I know parking's a problem, but I just get so frustrated, okay? And by the way, I do want to congratulate Mayor McGovern. I think, is this your first meeting? I don't know.
I've been here before, but my first...
That is Mayor. That's right. And you always do.
I got a great audience too, right?
And the new council person, I'd like to congratulate you too. Also, I just wanted to touch on the bags as a business owner. And you know I'm supportive of this. But I can't speak for myself, but I can speak, I talk to a lot of business owners, let's put it that, we all know I do. You're going to get pushback, you know that. And they have their reasons. Yeah. But I think that there has to be like a stepping, like you're saying January 1st, that might actually be too soon. January 1st might be, well, I'm saying this because there's people that live under a rock and still don't know that this might be going through. There's people who have ordered bags for the whole year, okay? So if there could be a way to graduate it in the sense of, I mean, I'm gonna be okay, I've kind of rearranged a couple things, but, some people are gonna go, we've got a pallet of bags in our basement. It needs to be some kind of workable.
We'll work with them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that they make, like, if they show you that they have bags, so there has to be some kind of, balance. And I do have to.
No, and we'll work with them.
I do have to agree, though, that the bigger companies, you say you have this ordinance from where, Long Beach?
Yeah, that's Long Beach, and then Stafford did one like 2 weeks
All
ago,
right,
same thing.
Long Beach, California?
Long Beach Township in Ocean County,
Oh, okay.
New Jersey.
Well, what do they do with the 7-Elevens and the Wawas and the, I mean,
Call and find out.
because that's probably a really good way to, all right. And the other thing too, the reason why, Mayor, I thought you were looking at me, because you looked straight at me when you said something about the BBP earlier. Because I hear BBP.
You're on the BBP.
Yeah, I hear BBP, and I wrote up, yes, okay, I'm the trustee of the BBP, and I don't have the answer to the question, because you asked if it would interfere. We don't have a budget to be doing what we were talking about, okay, so that's why it wouldn't interfere.
Right.
And I'm not sure, but I don't think the marine, the boats pay into the BBP. So that's why I don't think it would be, I could be wrong,
No.
that's why.
But they went to the Harbor Commission meeting, right, and so, both marks are on it, so.
Is this John Sabia you're talking about, who has?
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause he's very good at what he does. He's very
Yes.
good.
Okay.
He's very good. Thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks, Pat. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi,
Your name and your address?
Hi, I'm Jackie Kersanti. I live at 1000 River Road, Marina View Tower.
Okay.
And you're talking about construction and traffic, and that's what kind of brings me here tonight, is to talk about the intersection of Route 35 and 10th Avenue, because it's become really hazardous and dangerous for drivers and pedestrians. I've seen plenty of times people trying to cross the street, and either they don't have enough time to get across, or cars are coming from every direction. And also with drivers, nobody seems to know how to make a left-hand turn. I don't know if we're used to so many jug handles and, not being able to make lefts, that people tend to go, approach it, and they try and go behind the car coming to them, instead of remembering just to make a left-hand turn into the left-hand lane. So with that in mind, I was thinking of a couple of things that maybe you would look into to try and improve the intersection. And one would be to, first of all, change the light, that maybe if we had a light that had a green arrow first, to give the cars coming out to make the left-hand turn, if they could go out first, that might help.
You mean on 10th Avenue?
On 10th Avenue,
Okay.
the intersection 10th Avenue and 35. And then the other thing, maybe it would be possible to paint lines or arrows or something, so that people turning left would know where to turn into the left-hand lane, and those coming out, the same thing, to make the left-hand lane onto 35, especially when it's dark. The intersection is so wide, I think that some people lose perspective.
Yes.
So that's really all I wanted to say, especially since summer's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, but that is, because it's the state, the Department of Transportation would be in charge of that. Our police department would not be able to do any of that, even though they're common sense fixes, but we get, Drew, what can you say to that?
There is a study going on right now with the state highway department. When about 2 years ago, we did extend the lights, and during the high pedestrian traffic, we do man that intersection. But there is an ongoing study. I'm not too sure where they are at right now, but we did start that in the fall.
Yeah, so that's state of New Jersey, because it's a state highway. We're a municipality, so 10th Avenue and Main Street, we would be able to. Well, we can't control the light, correct?
No, we can work with the state and the county on the safety issues on extending the lights, or actually adding countdown timers and things like that. But we are working on addressing the area of concern, which is 10 and 35.
Yes. We'll work with them. Great, thank you for coming forward. Yes?
Cohasset B Street. I have two questions in relation. First one is concerning FEMA money for the loan, the loan we took out for the Taylor Pavilion. I'm wondering an update on FEMA, if we've gotten.
There's not a loan for Taylor Pavilion.
We bonded $5 million.
That's bond, yes.
Okay, well, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Could you give me an update on FEMA? Have we received any of that money from FEMA?
We're working closely with FEMA. Robin Parker, CFO, and myself have been meeting with them continually, uploading documents. We hope to enter closeout phase of a lot of projects over the next 6 months. FEMA's looking to do this statewide and start to clean up Sandy and not leave it open as long as, let's say, they did Irene.
Okay, in other words, they don't reimburse you until the projects are closed down. So do we have any projects still open at the Pavilion, or are we pretty
Those
close to
projects
close?
are pretty close to closeout.
Okay.
Yeah, so we should be seeing those wrapping up soon.
Okay.
Okay, so we are paying money on the bond, correct? I mean, we have made payments, interest payments, and paying back money on those bonds?
FEMA's paid us money by now, correct?
FEMA's certainly paid us a lot of payments against the Hurricane Sandy expenses. How we structured financing of the emergency and the recovery varied. Some projects are funded by bond anticipation notes, pending those reimbursements coming back to the borough at fairly low interest rates.
Right, but what I'm
But they haven't
asking,
come forward and said, no, we're not paying you for that, correct? Yeah.
no, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, have we paid down any of the $5 million bond that we used to build the Taylor Pavilion? Have we made any payments on it?
I think that's still in notes, but I can double check for council if they so wish.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And my other question is about the CDL loan. I'd like to know the standing on the CDL loan, where we stand on that.
Again, that's a question, not knowing that you're going to come up and ask me that question, that's something that our CFO would know better.
I can answer for you. We're waiting to go back from state at this point. So this is the CDL loan process is something that has to get closed out, similar to community disaster loan.
Oh, right, okay.
And so typically we send information up to the state and we're waiting for them to get back to us.
Okay.
Okay, so that, again, on that, so they haven't made any demands to pay back that $4.8 million yet? It's just kind of in limbo? Is that where it is? It's in the state?
Current state that it's been in for the last.
But that's that was a 5-year window, correct? Of when they start to?
I think it was 5 years, yeah.
Right, so are we around the time that they're gonna make a decision?
Waiting to hear back from them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and I would ask that if and when both of those things happen, if you can bring that out to the public, because there's a lot of concern out there about our bonding issues.
Sure.
And how much money we owe.
Yep.
So if you guys could bring that up as soon as you find out that.
Once the state and federal government lets us know,
That'll
I'm
all
sure.
over our financial records,
Yeah.
which are already on the website and will continue to be.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
Maria Florio, 115 12th Avenue. I'd like to know the ruling about putting garbage out on a weekend. The Saturday before Easter, a neighbor put 2 mattresses outside, and, day before Easter, that didn't sit too well with me. So I called code enforcement, and naturally, I was told they don't work on the weekends.
Yeah.
So then I went forward and called the police, just so they could give a warning, not to give them a ticket, but to go to the house and say, take them back in. So, I don't know. They said he would tell the sergeant about it, but I didn't hear anything about it. That night, my grandson came home, and he said the mattresses were put in front of the house on 8th Street. I'm on 12th today. And the mattresses were on 12th. And they put the mattresses on 8th Street. So we could see it. So the next morning, my daughter met the people and introduced herself, Happy Easter. She said, those mattresses don't belong there. They said they were dumped. But you could have put them on the side. But anyway, my concern is, what do you do when there's garbage and the code enforcer doesn't work? Who do you call?
Ghostbusters.
Where were you? I did, there
Did
was
you
no
call?
answer.
Well, my number is on
I
all the
want to call
sites.
you personally.
Everybody else does. My number's there for any emergencies, you call me and I'll see if I can take care of it.
Mike, we do have DPW guys working weekends, right?
We do in the summer, and I have one person doing trash during the winter. So again, I may have been able to address that anyway. The Wright Avenue is code enforcement because the bulk items should be put out the second pickup of the week the night before.
Right.
So again, they did not follow what you're doing in your area. That should be Mondays and Thursdays are your pickups. So it should have been put out Wednesday night. If it was for Easter, Wes, we did an Easter cleanup for the brush and everything else, I certainly would have sent my guy over there and picked it up, and then they could have addressed it with code enforcement.
Yeah.
But call me next time and I'll take care of it for you.
Yeah. But
That's the answer.
Trouble that your wife will want to know who's that woman.
I'll
I
deal
just
with it.
wanted to know who.
yeah, don't tell her about mattresses. Okay, all right. Maybe we should go to the next person who wants to talk.
Hi, David Schneck, 302 C Street, at least for now, for a short while longer. A couple of questions here. First, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Just a couple of things that came up. The SID, has any provision been made to this point that people who do construct commercial buildings under redevelopment to make any kind of contribution to the SID? As more and more of downtown is falling under redevelopment, it's putting more and more of a burden on the regular traditional property owners to support the SID. And meanwhile, we have these very valuable properties doing big dollars in business, Anchor Tavern, Marina Grill, you know, a few others that are are running very busy businesses under redevelopment law, not contributing 1 cent to the special improvement district. Is that right?
April, do you know the answer to that, or?
I do. Currently, the redeveloper agreements that you have in effect do not have SID payments attached to them. It could be negotiated into the financial agreement if that's so desired.
Okay, so in other words, some of these businesses that are in the redevelopment zone, like David said, aren't paying into the city.
Yeah, look at how much volume of business Marina Grill and just Marina Grill and Anchor Tavern do, you know, and you have some much smaller businesses in the, right there that are making SID payments and they're not paying anything. It just doesn't seem fair, you know.
Well, okay, we'll look into it. Thank you.
You will look into it, right?
Yeah, well, hey, obviously you came to the microphone, you brought it to our attention. I mean, I wouldn't
Okay, I've
know.
talked about it before, and maybe now, you know,
Yeah.
there's issues.
I guess it's negotiable. I don't know what's already been written down,
Well, it's
so.
only gonna happen if the town brings it up. These guys are not gonna voluntarily just start paying into the SID, you know.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So I think that it's only gonna happen if the town insists on it.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, next thing is this DOT study. Yeah, I did hear that. The DOT study about the intersection of Route 35 and 10th Avenue. It was mentioned in the October 17 minutes of the Harbor Commission. But that was prompted by the additional traffic caused by the Marina Grill. Isn't that true?
That's not accurate.
And it's not? Because the Marina Grill opened up in 2017, right?
No, the DOT study was triggered actually by a letter from Jaski and Blackburn out of concern for pedestrian safety back in 2015.
Oh, see.
The origins of this DOT study go back to 2015?
Sorry.
And I think it's mostly the concern of not people going to the Marina Grill, but the traffic on State Highway, and people from 10th Avenue trying to make as a lady was making that left-hand turn to go south on Highway 35.
It's mostly, I think, the problem is pedestrian traffic, and that really took off after the Marina Grill.
Right, that's a long intersection of
pedestrian traffic going into the marina before that, you know.
Next.
Yeah, just, and this is actually the main point I want to make, is that this Senate Bill S. 1958, you know, regardless of what your opinion is about whether DJs should be open for parade day or year-round or whatever, the real problem with S. 1958 is that it usurps the power of our zoning, of our local zoning control. And the ordinance, or the bill, I should say, explicitly says that the town can no longer control at all the days of the calendar that these businesses that are changing, that would be changing their liquor licenses can be open. So, you know, DJ's problem, for example, with DJ's, the problem was never that they didn't have a year-round liquor license, because they could have bought one anytime they wanted to, right? So it wasn't that they didn't have a license, that it was a local zoning. They were in a residential neighborhood that prevented them from operating, you know, year-round. So it was a local zoning that was the issue. It had nothing really to do with their liquor license. And the local zoning, I guess, says that grandfathered them in, but with the seasonal license. And I do recall a couple of years, like 4 years ago, was it, 2012 or something, that they did apply for like a variance or something on the zoning, right, to be able to operate year-round, and it was the zoning that they went after. It was the zoning that they wanted a change in, or a variance in the zoning. And when they saw all the neighborhood opposition to that, they withdrew their bid to do that. I'm sure you remember that quite well. And you know, the problem with S. 1958, and this is a personal thing of mine that I've written about for many, many years, is the state encroaching on the power of local government. And really, we should have the right to control our own town and not have the state, especially none of the sponsors of this legislation are even, you know, in a district with one of these licenses. So it's people from out of town, it's people from not even in the area that are now telling us that we can't control our own zoning ordinances. And like I said, it doesn't matter, it really is irrelevant whether you think DJ should be open year-round, or should be able to open March 1st, or for the parade, or whatever. The real issue is, it's actually at page 4 of the bill, lines 11 through 21, is the offending language. Page 4, lines 11 through 21, explicitly state that the town cannot prohibit any of these licensees from opening any days that anybody else is allowed to be open. So it just completely removes the power of our zoning, you know. So I just want you to consider that very strongly, because that's your power. You know, that's our power that the state is usurping, and we should not take that lightly. Thank you.
We'll look into it. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, with the big tie? Oh, it's red.
Name and address for the record.
Authority 115 on the Terrace. Mayor Governor, I just want to congratulate you and your council members for selecting Mark Levis and joining you on the dais. I've known Mark for many years now. I know he's going to bring his talents to bear here in Belmar and make Belmar a better place to live in. He's smart, and he's got a great, wonderful family and deep ties in the community. So, Mark, congratulations. Also, Mayor Governor, I want to congratulate you and your council members on selecting Councilwoman Nicolay as your council president. She's without a doubt the best councilwoman up on this day, as far as
I'm no longer the youngest.
Never worry. And
you just act older.
But I had a great opportunity to serve with her for many years. She does an outstanding job on the council, and she's a good, strong council president as well. So just want to say congratulations. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, Pat, because we have to go into another meeting, so could you come up, make a quick question, Pat?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something that didn't change, so I thought.
You're going to have to come up to the microphone.
Okay.
And then we're going to
Okay.
go to executive session.
Patricia Texa, I own Nostalgic Nonsense, 93 Main Street. I just wanted to say that David is absolutely correct, that a lot of the new redevelopment, which I know we need, is under something called a pilot payment in lieu of taxes. So like this building over here where Hayes and Hamptons was, they don't pay into the city. Where Stay Gold is, they don't pay into the city. I think he's right, the Marina Grill doesn't, and that's why our budget is so low a lot of times, because we don't have it. So I just want
But do you really need more money to do what you're doing? I mean, it seems like that $138,000 budget seems to me to be a lot of money, and that these other businesses, as they come online, should reduce the smaller people's amount.
But they're not, but they're not. And what's happening is somebody like me who volunteers all my time, okay, we've got a lot of volunteers, and then we can get a lot more done. We don't have enough time for all that, okay? But I did want to clarify that he is correct, that a lot of people don't pay into it. And as a business improvement district, the way it was set up, we can't take in money. We can't even build money for something, okay? We can only outlay money and supplement money, so we can't take money from them. So I just wanted to.
See, I don't know if you need a bigger budget or more people coming in, making everyone pay less.
Well, yeah, all right, but more people coming in, everyone pay less, great, but then we still need volunteers, you know?
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Okay, seeing no one else, I make a motion to close the public portion.
All in favor?
Aye. Folks,